If you're anything like me, you may be considering going solo and opening your own law firm at this point in time. However, maybe that wasn't your plan in law school. Maybe it was never your intention to open your own law firm. I know it wasn't my intention, and I've shared that I think a number of times in videos here about like kind of pieces of my journey to becoming a solo law firm owner. So I figured let's go into it. Let me share with you kind of what that looked like, kind of from start to finish, as far as my career and how I ended up as a solo. For any of you who may be considering going solo, thinking about it, but it wasn't quite in the cards, it wasn't on your plan, but you find yourself maybe now considering it. So here's kind of what it looked like for me. So I went to law school from 2006 to 2009. If you want to do the math, yes, I'm 41 years old. And so when in 2008, here in Washington State, after your second year of law school, you can have we call it a Rule 9, was a limited license to practice law. So I found myself at the prosecutor's office here locally doing misdemeanor cases. And I really enjoyed it. It was very fast paced, which I really liked. And so I was doing like misdemeanor criminal cases, DUI, some domestic violence, which was I did not enjoy, but various just misdemeanor cases that I was prosecuting. And so the plan was for most of us who were at the prosecutor's office as 2Ls, as Rule 9s, was that when we graduated law school, we'd be offered a job and we would go there after law school. Well, this was 2008. And for some of you, you may recall what happened in 2008, where the whole market crashed. And the state of Washington had a huge budget freeze and would not, or at least wasn't able to hire any of us on full time when we graduated. And so I found myself facing law school graduation, not knowing what I was going to do. I then ended up at our attorney general's office in the L&I department. Again, another state agency couldn't hire us on when we graduated, so that wasn't really any better of a situation for me to find myself in. And so then it was like, what do I do? Like, I'm about to graduate law school. I'm finally going to be done with school. I graduated law school when I was 25 years old. I went straight through from high school, college to law school. There was no gaps, there was no break, there was no year off. I went straight through. So I was finally going to be done with all of my education, and I had no job lined up. A little scary. But me being me, and you're probably similar to me, like, I'm going to figure it out. I am going to find a way. I'm going to find myself a job. I am going to, like, I'm not going to be sitting here doing nothing. Like, I didn't work this hard to not have a job. So then I started cold calling and reaching out to local law firms in my area because I always had an interest in real estate. And so I found a firm. And, let me tell you, most of the firms said thanks, but no thanks. Like they weren't interested because the whole like industry was like suffering, right? Like financially, things were not good at that point in time. 08, 09, things were in the trash as far as the economy. But I had one firm that took me on. I started there part time. Ended up having 2 kids there. I had my daughter in 2010. I had my son in 2012. And I was there for about almost 7 years until 2016. Now, come about 2014, I was seeing the writing on the wall at this firm, and kind of seeing just where I was in life and with my career, and just realizing, like, okay, this is not going to be it for me. I kind of had, like, gone as far as I could go in that law firm, and I knew, okay, there's nothing else here for me. But then looking at other jobs, this was again like 2014-ish. I'm starting to figure out, okay, what am I doing? What's my next move? And I knew that going to like one of these big firms downtown was not going to work for me. Like I had 2 small kids and it just was not going to be a viable option. And so I started thinking about going out on my own. But the whole notion of figuring out how to go out on my own and open a law firm, like that was so overwhelming and perplexing to me. And all the thoughts came in, all the fears, all the self-doubt, all the imposter syndrome. Like despite how hard I had worked and how much I had done for myself in my career up to that point, I still was just like, I don't know if I can open a law firm. Like I had no business experience. I had a history major in college, so I really didn't know how to open a business, how to open a law firm. I took no classes in law school on how to open a law firm because that was never on my agenda or on my plan of what I was going to do. And I am very much like, I have a plan and I follow that plan. I follow a checklist. I check all the boxes. There's a certain order in which you do things. And opening my own law firm was not on that plan. And so this was, 2014, 2015. And I'm just like, I'm really unhappy where I am. And I didn't work this hard to become an attorney, to be unhappy. But I want a career where I can be fulfilled in my career, but also be there for my family and be there for my kids and design my life in a way and my career in a way that was going to work for me and what I wanted. And it became more and more clear that going out on my own and opening my own law firm was the only way that I was going to be able to make that happen for myself. Now, I did have like a group of colleagues and some friends who were also moms who had their own law firms. And I would just look at them and be like, oh my gosh, like, how did you do that? How did you open a law firm? And it's one of those things where I tell you this all the time. Like, I didn't know when I decided I was going to do this, the end result. And I'm not end result. I'm not at the end result, but like, I didn't know how it was all going to work, but I could see a few steps ahead of me, right? I could see, okay, I need to do this, this, and this. And then I need to do this, this, and this. I don't know what step Z is going to be. I don't even know what step, like, I don't know, P, Q, R, S, T. Like, I don't know those steps, but I know steps A and B and C. And if I can just do steps A, B, and C, then I'll figure out step D and I'll figure out step E. Because one thing I know about myself is that I know how to figure things out. I know how to get things done. I'm very resourceful, and I'm sure that you are as well. Like, you know how to figure things out. Even if you don't have all the answers, you can figure out the next step. And that's where I found myself. And I remember it was September 2015 where I was like, okay, like, enough is enough. I'm going to stop talking about going out on my own. I'm going to stop thinking about it and just making business plans. Like, I'm actually going to decide. Like, September was when that decision was made. In October, I decided March 1st, 2016 is my date that I'm opening my law firm. So that was about a 6-month on ramp for me to figure out, okay, what do I need to do? How do I get the pieces in place to be able to open March 1st, 2016? And that's all the nitty gritty, from picking a name, getting a website, getting the email set up, a logo design, finding an office. I still have the same office I went to when I went out on my own initially. So I had a brick and mortar and I still have it. I do a hybrid where I'm at my home office like 2-3 days a week and then in my brick and mortar about 2 days a week. And so I just started taking those small steps to work towards opening my own law firm. And the more steps I took, through November, through December, and then it was January, and then it was like 60 days until I opened my law firm, and then 30 days, and it became like more and more real, right? And March 1st, 2016, Dow Law Firm was open for business. I was out on my own. And I can tell you one of the most amazing things was that March 1st, 2016, I had clients in my office. I had clients in my office hiring Dow Law Firm. Dow Law Firm, which never existed until I created it. My law firm is like my third child. For anyone who's created a law firm from scratch and did so from a place of uncertainty and the fear and all the things that you overcome in opening your own law firm. Like, if you've navigated that journey, like I navigated that journey, like your law firm is your child. Like, you created this from nothing. It was an idea in your head, and now it's a full-fledged law firm that has helped hundreds or maybe thousands of people now, right? I mean, I've been solo for almost 10 years. I've been practicing for 16 years. So I've done a lot of good work helping a lot of people. And the version of me 10 years ago who wanted to open her law firm, who knew that it probably was the best decision for me, but still had those doubts. The version of me from 10 years ago, that might be the version of you and where you are right now. and unsure if you can do it. You don't know how, you don't know all the steps. It's really scary and it's really risky. And it is like, those feelings are valid because it is. It is scary and it is risky. But here's the thing about it, that all the risk is on you, right? Like, you are betting on yourself. So the only question is, are you going to show up and do the work? So if that's the bet, if that's the gamble, is whether or not you're going to show up and do the work, and you know that you're going to do it, that is like the best odds you could ever have. That's the best gamble. That's the best risk you can take, is one on yourself, because you know you're willing to do the work and show up and do the hard thing, and to do so over and over and over. Even when you have hard days, even when you don't feel like it, right? You still keep showing up, and you're showing up for yourself, right? This is something that you created for you, for your family, and, in turn to help your clients and to do good work. So that's how I ended up going solo. That's what that journey looked like. It wasn't always perfect. There's a lot of bumps in the road, but overall, I mean, it's been a really good ride. It's the best decision I've ever made. I could never go back to being an attorney and a W-2 attorney in a firm again. I just can't. I've been able to design a career that allows me the freedom, the flexibility, the time, the money, like all the things that I've wanted. I've been able to create that. Again, it didn't happen overnight. That wasn't day one, but I put in the work. I've kept showing up to create something for myself and for my family that works for us. So if you needed a little bit of an inspiration, a little bit of a pep talk in going out on your own and opening your own law firm, I hope this video found you. I hope it resonated with you. And I encourage you to, yes, you can open a law firm. You can do it. You can be successful and really enjoy your career. Yeah, I was really unhappy in my career before I went out on my own. And we didn't work this hard to become lawyers to be miserable. Like, what's the point in that? Like, that's not, there's got to be more than that. There's got to be something else. So if going solo is for you, I encourage you to do it. I wish you all the best. If 2025 was the year that you were doing it and you did it, that's amazing. Congrats. If 2026 is the year that you're doing it, I am right here cheering for you, rooting for you. And if you need help or support, I am here and happy to hop on a call to see if we're a good fit, if I can help you. And make sure you stick around and subscribe for more inspiration and help and guidance and resources on how to run a successful law firm. All right, thanks. I'll see you in the next one.